let's take an insider look at Scrumpy Card Cider. In Scrumpy, you are picking apples from your orchard, collecting wood, building barrels, and in the end, pressing your cider to be sold to different vendors, all while making goals, managing your finances, and hiring experts. You start the game with 13 basic workers. These workers are going to perform different functions throughout your cidery, and they are also going to be used for your apples, wood, cider, and barrels. Therefore, your forger, who allows you to roll the custom die, may end up being an apple. So when you play, you're not going to have access to that card until you press those apples into cider and they end up in your discard pile.
Within this game, you never get caught. You can always do something positive. You can sell your resources. You can sell your empty barrels. There's also a section on the board called the Owner's Office, which gives you the ability to do some of your card abilities just at a lesser value. The vendors really set the supply and the demand of the game. There might be orders for barrels. Other times there might just be smaller orders for a single bottle of cider. So that really will dictate where you're going and then the cards you get. The one cool thing about this game is you can't just go down a certain path every single time. You can't say, I'm just purposely going to go and try to make a bunch of cider this game, or I'm going to try to make a bunch of barrels, or I'm going to try to make a bunch of money. Because the market might not allow it, and then the cards that you get out might not allow that either. So you really have to be tactical in your playing style, and you have to go with the wind. Another cool thing about this game is really there's limited vendor spots. So when you're playing with multiple people, even in a two-player game, but more so in a larger player game, those spots are going to fill up pretty quickly. So you need to get to market with your product quickly if you want to get those bonuses. Otherwise, you might be left holding on to a barrel of cider.
You play quicker by fulfilling more orders and removing cubes from your player board and putting them up onto the vendor spaces. But you could choose to fulfill all orders for one bottle of cider. It's going to score you less points, but you may be able to speed play the game and finish in round 4 or 5 rather than going all the way to 6. So as some years allow you to really build that engine, this game really makes you interact with the players and decide how you're going to play. In addition, they have cards that allow you to copy your opponent's cards.
You have to be aware of what the other people are doing. This isn't a game where you just play your turn, you build your engine, you can look at your phone while somebody takes like an extra 6 minutes to do their turn. You really have to be aware if somebody's selling something quick, if they're copying your action, or if they've played a card that you want to copy. So it's really very much an interactive game, and more so than you see in this space. The rule set itself is simple, but the thinking comes into the game is just what's based out there and what my opponents are doing. So from a small rule set, I can really take a very interesting decision tree.
Definitely love my food and game pairing. And this game, the business aspects and actually feeling like I'm taking my apples from my orchard, pressing them, selling them, really fits into my business world as well as the culinary world that I love. So from a thematic standpoint, I believe that the game feels like you are in control of the different steps and processes within a cidery. Just like other beverage-based games that are out there, we like going through the process.
Yeah, I think one of our favorite games of all time is Hotel Grand Austria, and one reason that we like that and we play it so many times is you never really know what game you're going to get into, and this is the same thing here. You put up the different vendor cards, you get different cards in your hands, and you hire different skilled or master workers. And with the goal cards, it's changing every single time. I can't just go in and say, I'm doing this every game. At least I think it's fair to say we like our beverage-based games. Just looking at our collection, we have 4 or 5 wine, beer-based games. I think the cider game will be a nice addition to the collection. Think this will stay in the collection?
Absolutely. For us, this game goes the distance.